Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session. It is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. It is 2:32 p.m. This is set to go until 3:30 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting. We're in Building 1, room 280. For public virtual attendance, you may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. We have County Manager Ramiro Chavez as in the boardroom, as well as Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. And staff members joining us in the boardroom as well as via Zoom. We'll start off with our agenda with the review of the Board of County Commissioners draft agenda for our meeting of September 13th, 2022. So with that, we will call the meeting to order at 2 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Menser, approval of the Tuesday, September 13th, 2022 agenda, and approval of the board meeting minutes from August 30th, 2022. We have a presentation set for that day, and that is the Kiwanis Club of Olympia Proclamation. County Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I highlighted this item a couple of weeks ago where I received a request from the Kiwanis Club for the board to consider a proclamation for a milestone event of this particular club. The conversation with the board was in terms of, and I explained that to the requestor. The board usually don't go through the proclamations on those type of events, but certainly based on the discussion, the Madam Chair will make a verbal acknowledgement related to their milestone celebration. I responded accordingly. I received a couple of good feedback saying thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to attend on September 13th for the verbal acknowledgement as you discussed. However, this item is back in your conversation as a request from Commissioner Mejia, so I'll let Commissioner Mejia just explain the additional details why this is back up for your discussion.
Yes, thank you, County Manager. I also received feedback on this matter, and I was let known of the importance of it, especially the main reason they want something other than an oral recognition is because they would like to add this to their history books, have this proclamation specifically for this event. And they would also like to present it to their membership at their centennial gala. And so that's why they're really requesting a written proclamation to be read that day. So, you know, I thought I would bring this up to see if there's any, I know this is kind of opening the door up to other requests, but just wanted to bring this up as a conversation to see if the commissioners would be willing to consider doing this proclamation. Commissioner Edwards.
Not very many of those community organizations that do a lot of good work in our community have been at it for 100 years, and I think that gives us an opening.
That's good.
Thank you. Okay.
Very good. So we'll circulate. In fact, the proclamation is attached to your packet. So if you have the opportunity, please review. If you have any comments, please let Jamie and myself know, and we'll process that, and we will inform the members. Jamie, the board will pursue the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. With that, next, there will be an opportunity for the public to address the board and county manager's update.
Yeah, I will not predict any more public testimony. Last time I said it will be not much public testimony. Here we are, King 5 News, off of Lake. So you may receive public testimony there.
About anything.
Yeah, about anything.
And it might take hours. We don't know.
We don't know. But surprise is something's right there, I guess. And I don't have any specific manager's update. I am working on the On acknowledgement, the CPED has been awarded an award related to the Habitat Conservation Plan. I will make that statement next Tuesday, but I'll need to get the details. That's what I just got, an award on our HCP, which is great news. So I will get the details, and certainly I will highlight that next Tuesday.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards? Commissioner Munster? Okay,
Can I go back to our proclamation? Will you be
Yes.
here for that?
yes, I'll be there. Moving on to consent items, we have two. The first time,
So before you get into those two items, I have a couple of more items for your consideration.
okay,
Yesterday, the Board of Health conducted interviews to potential additional members in response to the state law that requires each county to expand the membership of the Board of Health. The Board of Health met yesterday, and again, on a special meeting, conducted an interview the whole afternoon, and they have moved a recommendation for you to consider appointments of Lynn Nelson, Maria Williams, and Beth Harvey to the Board of Health. So with your concurrence, I will add those items for on the consent agenda for next week.
have they been called and notified?
No, because the board has not taken an action. We will, if the board approves those nominations, obviously we'll send a letter. And also we'll send a letter to the other individuals as well who participated on that. But if they're watching this, I already know.
Still got a better offer from another Board of Health?
You know, maybe.
Hopefully not.
I was like, don't throw that out there.
Well, I do have a question on
Go
this.
ahead.
This is kind of a historical moment, you know, for the Thurston County Board of Health. Are those folks so inclined? I know we're not taking a vote on it until next Tuesday, but I think we could notify ourselves about this. And I just wonder, were any of them so inclined, did they say that they might want to be here for that or anything like that? I'm just curious.
We can probably reach out to them if they would like.
I don't know. I just think about that. It's going to be something different.
Although this
It's on the consent agenda.
So
Yeah.
it's somewhat procedural. but-
Yeah, okay, good. That's good enough. I'm good.
But maybe if you allow me a couple more minutes, I think that's a good point to explain to the public what this really means.
Yeah, and how come it's happening?
So the state law changed back in 2021, where it required all the Board of Health to expand the membership. Currently, a few months ago, the Board of Health was composed by the three of you, the three Board of County Commissioners. The new law requires to expand that to include members from a healthcare area, also somebody who has been facing life experience with public health, and another one is from nonprofit, and as well as a representative from the tribes. So the Board of County Commissioners, you pass a resolution adhering to the requirements of the new law, where you specifically stated on that resolution how the new Board of Health will be composed. And at this point, it's 8-member Board of Health. So you have you reach out to the cities first of all, because the makeup of the current Board of Health is 4 elected officials and 3 citizen representatives, which is included the tribal representative. How you meet the 4th elected official in this case will be a representative from the city of Lacey, which Council Member Robin Vasquez has been serving already in the Board of Health, and the 4 of you conducted the interview yesterday for the additional 4 members. So if the board approves those recommendations of the 3 appointments, that will bring the Board of Health to 7 members. And we'll still have to wait for the appointment of the tribal representatives from the American Indian Health Commission from the state. And that's how it's stated in the requirement. So this is, I believe, exciting times ahead. I think the adding representation to the Board of Health, hearing 2 new voices, I think is going to be a stronger policy decision-making process in the future related to public health here in Thurston County. So pivotal, if I may.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the other consent items. The numbering will probably change. The first one is Central Services, a resolution reclassifying position 25R00603 in the Thurston County Pay and Classification Pay Plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For your consideration is the first item related to the briefing that Robin and her staff provided to the board on June 8, 2022, and the overall structure of Central Services and the duties that Robin has under her preview. So in this particular item is for you to consider reclassifying a vacant 1 full-time senior office assistant to an assistant administrative assistant 1. The impact on the budget on this case is going from $4,837 per month to $5,333 per month. That will be a $496 a month increase of 10.25%. And as you heard on the presentation on June 8th of this year, the department and Robin is not asking for any adjustments on the current budget. They will be absorbing on the current budget allocation. Any questions?
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
But it will go on to, it'll be additional from this point on.
Yeah, it will be part of the base budget for 2023.
Once we fill it, and hopefully not at the top of the range.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mensah, questions?
Can you talk a little more about the difference and why, what's the motivation for the reclass?
So this position supports capital projects, and they actually do it at a higher level. There are 2 positions that support our capital project managers, and the other position is already been upgraded. So they do the same work. Having this person at the lower level, they'd be working out of class. And we need to adjust it up so that they can do appropriate work.
Okay.
My question is, so I thought we did you not include all the positions? Because I thought we did like a big.
We did a bunch of them, but HR has taken its time with this one, and I have one that they haven't worked through yet.
Your executive
So
assistant.
there's one more. No, the executive
That's great.
assistant got fixed. The last one in the group is the capital planning manager,
Okay.
which is a new classification for the county. So that one's taken even longer.
So then we'll be seeing one more come through later
You will
on.
see one more after this. This one took a while because HR, when they reviewed the duties, asked if this shouldn't actually be a capital program manager 1, and it shouldn't. It needs to be in the office assistant or admin series, but with higher level duties than an office assistant does.
Okay.
So it took a while to get this one, and then one more that I still don't have yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Public Works, a resolution increasing the full-time equivalency FTE of toll house operator positions in the Thurston County Pay and Classification Pay Plan.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for your consideration. And this is a little bit of my personal history on this particular request. I think this is a long time coming. And the toll house operators the positions themselves, for some reason over the years, have been at 0.85 FTE for many years. And they have been operating under those conditions. And as you're tracking, really in the last few years, we have, since 2019, 2021, we have been seeing increases of 20% on the solid waste that we're processing. This is a facility that is operating 7 days a week. This is the services that we provide. And over time, we have seen a very difficult time to work within the schedules with the 0.85 FTEs, which most of the toll house operators already working beyond that time. So, and that is probably, even to a great extent, I have been working with Jennifer, which is here with us today, to bring those positions to a full-time, a 1.0 FTE. So the request is really for you to consider approving the 12 positions, the toll house operators, to move from a 0.85 FTE to a 1.0 FTE. The overall expense on all those 12 positions will be just about $40,000 a year, and that will be covered by the tip and fees. And again, I think this is a well worth item for you to consider and approving. And at least from my point of view, it's a long time coming, not just to address the needs of the operations of the work, but also address the needs of the employees who have been diligently working 0.5 FTEs without having the chance to work a full-time employment. That's my initial statement. Jennifer, anything else to add?
Thank you, Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. I would add that, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. In addition to what the county manager stated, just being really the right thing to do for our employees, who a majority of them are working closer to those 40 hours, but earning benefits off of the 0.85. It's also improved service to our customers at the work, because when we have folks that call out and we're short-staffed, we'll have to shut down those inbound or outbound scale houses, which results in wait times as well. It also affords just better coverage, of course, for the sick leave and vacations. And then there's just some enhanced predictability for scheduling for staff, and increased flexibility for being able to take leave.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
I'm trying to figure out why, but you say it's gonna cost about $40,000 more.
Overall.
And is that gonna be benefits, wages, vacation?
All included.
All of the above?
Yeah.
What were you making them work 6 days a week? I'm trying to figure out why. You said you didn't really know why, but.
How the positions were set up at
Yeah.
0.85 FTE, that's a good question. Even when I was Public Works Director, I asked that question, I couldn't get an answer. It has been in place for years, but I don't know if Jennifer has an answer to that, but I don't. Do you have the history on the 0.85 FTEs?
It was actually 0.75 for many years. And then I want to say, I think 3 years ago, we did an adjustment to 0.85, looking at the work. And as we looked at it further and looked at the amount of hours that staff were working, we're adjusting it up to full time. I don't know unless it was, I can only make assumptions.
Robin, do you recall that was part of the 2009?
I don't recall. That was a long time ago. So I have no idea why it's at that fraction.
Yeah.
But I think it's reasonable to set it at
Right.
whole FTE.
We oftentimes try to do something good and then we hear a bunch of flack about it, so
Right.
this is gonna go over good with everybody, I take it, right?
Because you're not just addressing one, you address the whole.
I think they started off working them 6 days a week at three-quarter pay and,
And we expect a lot of those employees. I mean, 7-day-a-week operation. It requires a lot of management of their time, and it requires a lot of flexibility for those employees to provide the services 7 days a week to the citizens, residents of the county.
so this is gonna affect that whole operation right there.
12 positions.
When you say that they're already working above .085, do you mean on an overtime pay, or they're just
Correct.
asked to do, oh, okay. So
Well, they're working above the 0.85, what they're scheduled because if somebody's out sick. I mean, you think of it, it's almost like retail hours, so.
And the key is they
Right.
only earn benefits at 0.85 FTEs.
Right, and they don't earn overtime until they hit 40 hours.
Correct.
You don't get time and a half until you hit that over 40 hour mark. But the time between the 0.85 and the full time,
They're just
they're
getting
working.
paid by the hour, they're not,
That's right.
their benefit levels aren't.
Right.
That's right, their benefit levels aren't adjusted, so they only get 85% of the medical benefits and 85% of the leave accrual and and it doesn't make sense. Quite frankly, I think that when I see a lot of these fractions of FTEs, half-time makes sense to me, 75% makes sense to me, full-time makes sense. When you get these little 0.1s and 0.15s, it's just crazy.
I always assume that, and not the case here, but a lot of times I always assume that's because they're billing, you know what I mean? We've got ones
Oh,
where
Yeah,
right,
when
yeah.
it was split
0.3 is
allocations
billed
makes
to
sense.
this.
That one full time
Right.
at 0.5 goes to
0.7,
5.
Yeah, allocating makes sense, but the, you get whole FTEs who's working a full work week. Anything less than that's just weird.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So department items, items 4A from the auditor's office, approval of the voucher list.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. This is on your department item. And this is for you to consider approving the voucher list for the week of August 8th for a combined amount of $1,994,792.41. There is some expenditure related to the atrium, that is why is as a department item. We have expenditures on page 3 for $71.70. Also on page 43, of $1,715.95. And also another payment on page 47 for $146.95 for a total of $1,934.50.
Thank you.
Questions? Okay. Moving on to item 5A from the Commissioner's Office, joint request for proposals for designated service provider services.
Yeah, as you may recall, the Board of County Commissioners approved a new local agreement with the cities of Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater to move ahead and issue a request for proposals to secure the services of a provider related to the management of public education and government access. And this is the next step in the process, is for you to authorize issuance of the request for proposals in alignment with the 3 cities.
Any questions?
No questions.
What's the timeline on this whole process?
This is a sense of urgency to get the request for proposals on the streets as soon as possible. And I can't remember how long it's going to be on the streets, but there's a sense of urgency to do this, obviously.
I don't remember how long it will be out there, but I know that they want to release it like on the 14th or 15th, which would be immediately following this.
But is the idea long-term to get the new provider or the same provider like January 1st or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think our contract expires on December 31st.
Okay. Okay, item 6A from Community Planning and Economic Development, request for proposals, permitting fee cost and comparison study.
Also, this is another long time coming item for your consideration, commissioners. Here's for you to authorize the issuance of a request for proposals to secure a contractor to do a permitting cost and comparison study. This is a coordinated effort between the Departments of Community Planning and Economic Development, Public Health and Social Services, and Public Works, because all three departments are part of the permitting process and the fees associated with it. So if the board agrees with this issuance of request for proposals, then it will be another item they will be considering for you to award the contract. We expect that this particular effort will be, the contract will be done by December of this year, and hopefully we can get some results in the of the study early summer of 2023. We expect this to cost about between $150,000 and $200,000. There is already budget allocated to this, and there's going to be, and all the three departments are contributing towards this effort. So it's already in budget that this year, and the board authorized that expenditure, and this is the request for you to authorize issuing the request for proposals. Jeremy?
Thank you, County Manager Chavez. Jeremy Davis, Community Planning. One thing I would add is that we're hoping for the main study, as the County Manager indicated, by early summer 2023. We do have the period of performance extending through December 31st, and that is to provide support to the county should we have to adjust any fees, and also provide support during the annual budgetary process next year, in case we have questions or technical concerns about the study and the numbers that they've given us. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have.
Thank you, Jeremy. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions.
Commissioner Mentor, questions? Jeremy, I have a question in regards to because I know we're under that 100% collection that was passed back in 2011. What year?
For which?
For the cost recovery, 100% cost recovery?
The end of the recession.
Right, probably around 2009,
Okay,
2010,
okay.
probably.
And so is there going to be a comparison with other counties on whether maybe they collect 50% or 25%? Is that going to be part of that as well?
Chairman, yes, that's part of our general scope that we've included in the request for proposals. So we're hoping to see that information in the study itself.
Great, thank you.
And that would be extremely helpful information because, you know, when a citizen does business, let's say in Pierce County and Thurston County, they can purchase the fees, but Pierce County subsidizes some of their fees through the general fund. And
So
this
they
is
have to add in their taxes that they paid for that subsidy.
right. So is that balance? And I think that's a great question. And certainly that will be part of the study to see how other counties will be in terms of the details of it.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item B, grant agreement from the Department of Ecology, streamflow restoration funding.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thurston County was awarded a streamflow restoration and enhancement grant from the Department of Ecology for $241,408. The work proposed is to conduct a feasibility study on the numerous sites in the Nisqually watershed to determine the sustainability to place a managed aquifer recharge facility. And this is related to the engrossed Senate Bill 6091, which became effective January 19, 2018, in response to the Hearst decision, as you may recall, which is where the Supreme Court specifically authorized local jurisdictions to continue permitting development that relies on domestic groundwater withdrawals, except for the state water permitting under this period. So in 2019, an addendum to the Nisqually Watershed Management Plan was reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners, and submitted to the Department of Ecology, and that plan was approved. And this is the grant that we have received from the Department of Ecology to start implementing the plan associated with the Nisqually Watershed Management Plan. Kayleen is that, Brad is here to cover this item. Brad, any perspective? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brad Murphy, Senior Planner with Community Planning. No, you've done a great job of explaining it, County Manager. I would just add that the county has received these funds previously. We used some of these funds to do the Rochester stormwater facility. If you may remember, that was a kind of a multi-use design facility. I believe it's like an amphitheater, community meeting location, but also as a stormwater facility. So this would take a look at different areas around the Nisqually watershed to take a look and see if any managed aquifer recharge facilities would work in certain areas of the watershed.
Okay, questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions.
Commissioner Munster?
Brad, is this a project that was, this is something that was in the Nisqually Watershed Plan?
I believe the idea of this, yes, was something was in it to go out and do this exploratory review to see where a facility would be best suited to be sited at. I can't remember explicitly if it was called out, but it definitely was discussed as a kind of a required step before putting in a project in the watershed.
Well, would it have to have been in the plan in order to have gotten this grant, or is there some mechanism by which, oh, hey, we've got a new great idea, we didn't put this in the plan, but
It has to be in the plan, it's part of the implementation of the plan, that's my understanding.
It was that much, yes, sir, was in the plan, and we got more points for the grant because it was in the plan. So it just wasn't specifically called out where these sites are going to be. That's essentially the study that's being done. So it was a rather nebulous kind of project discussion that was in the plan. So this is to get more of a fine tune on where these projects would go in the watershed.
Okay. Next item, item C, contract for facilitator for stakeholder work group to update long-term agriculture designation
My
criteria.
apologies, Commissioners, this item is not ready, so we will see this item at a later time.
Okay. So our agenda just got shorter. Scratch off item C. Moving on to emergency services, item 7A, Department of Ecology Grant Agreement, number CEAFC-AAP-TCEMMD-00035.
Fair enough.
Oh, that one.
Commissioners, this is the Department of Ecology provides a grant in response to severe flooding on the Chehalis, Black, and the Skookumchuck rivers. It is performance of this grant is from January 2022 through June 30, 2023 for $67,500. It includes emergency protective measures, distribution of water quality, testing kits, and removal of flood debris to preserve the lives and safety and minimize environmental contamination and impacts. This has been an anticipated grant and is included in 2022 budget. Ben is here to provide additional perspective. Okay?
Yeah, the grant number was assigned by the Department of Ecology and not by Thurston County Emergency Management.
Don't kill the messenger.
And other than that, I think the county manager did a wonderful job on briefing you on all the topics involved with this.
Okay, questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Munster? No questions for me either. Thank you, Ben. So moving on, we will have our regular standing items, and that will conclude our agenda for the 13th. With that, our next topic on our agenda is proclamations and awards.
Good afternoon, Jamie Caldwell, Clerk of the Board. As previously reviewed, included in your packet there is the proclamation for the 13th for Kiwanis Club of Olympia Day. Just to update you, I did switch a couple of them around on the proclamation schedule. The National Hispanic Heritage Month was supposed to be on the 13th, and so I've moved it down to the 27th. Outside of any questions, that's all I've got.
Questions? Go ahead, Commissioner
Is the
Mensah.
Kiwanis proclamations that come from them?
It came from the Kiwanis, the Club of Olympia directly. Their president, I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
I'm just curious, because you were saying like that there's centennial and 100 years and all that, but that's not really in here.
It's the 1-year anniversary of the formation of the Olympia chapter is why they're asking for it right now.
It seems like they want to say that in here.
This is what they provided, is their request. It's word for word, it's just on our template.
Right, well, that's what they want.
So we didn't make this up.
No, I'm not saying you made any of this up, I just thought it seemed like that piece that was so important
It's not here.
is
Right,
not
they
in
would
there.
want,
You
yeah.
think they'd want that in there, but if that's what they provided, then I'm not gonna start writing pieces for them.
You want to tackle that one? Okay, for my questions about the National Hispanic Heritage Month, and, just, I guess, last year I invited some folks and they were a little embarrassed to kind of talk. It was the first time we've done it, so, I'm wondering this year, kind of like, who is it that we're planning to invite to attend?
Actually, I was going to reach out and ask for some guidance on that one because I wasn't sure who was invited last year. I'm open and willing to, reach out to anybody, any suggestions that any of you guys might have.
If you have any connections, please let us know. That would be good.
Thank you. Okay. You didn't have any questions?
In the
on
September
proclamation?
27 is at 6 o'clock. Board meeting. It's a reminder.
Okay, thank you. When is it?
The 27th.
Did you have any questions on the proclamations and awards, sir?
Well, the only thing is, I'm wondering about is, the Kiwanis Club of Olympia was formed on September 15th, 2021. I don't think that's right. I'm hoping that means, September 15th, 1921.
Oh, yeah, right there. Okay. It's formed on September 15th.
Maybe we could just verify that.
Yeah, Jenny, we can send a proclamation for final review to them
I will.
with the invitation.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, that piece specifically. Okay, Commissioner items. We have 20 minutes. Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
Boards and commissions. I really don't have anything to report on, other than the EMS group would like to see if we couldn't have get back to normal on having a public works or a emergency management person in place and a director of the Department of Health in place. But I
I
think
second that.
everybody is continuing to work on that. I'll just let that go, okay, then. Okay.
Commissioner Menzer?
I've got a few things. I've got commissioners check-in tomorrow, so I can continue, but,
I won't be here tomorrow.
I do have a suggestion. I was gonna say maybe we ought to skip that tomorrow because one of our members is not here.
Well, I'll be here for the
I
executive
have an
session,
executive session tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
so
Maybe.
I'll be attending that
by
But-
Zoom,
by Zoom, but just that specifically just because I wanna
Okay.
be
Is
respectful.
a timely conversation this related to the Hopkins drainage district.
So I'll just be,
So even if you
Zooming in
cancel
for
the
that
rest of
portion.
the items, your commissioners check in, but I I really need, I really need your time on that one.
Okay, well then let's do that one and skip Commissioner check.
Okay, well then I'll get to business.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if you had a conversation with the consultant on Capitol Lake and if she was able to answer any questions about the flooding issue that you have.
Yes, and
What did you learn from her?
she did a good job of explaining some of the flood level issues. But maybe one of the bigger concerns I came away with was how come local government is saddled with the cleanup, if you will, if you want to call it cleanup. I don't know that that's what it is, but it's obviously being considered for the benefit of the community and the environment and all that. But whose fault? Why did they do it in 51 when they did? They had a yacht club in place then, it was functioning. They had a Port of Olympia in place, functioning. They created the lake, because prior to 51, the river flowed through there. One of the big problems also before I met.
Sorry, this is what I've been waiting for.
Oh,
That's why I've got the phone on, I'm sorry.
okay. Anyway, she did a good job, that's her.
Do you have any commissioner items?
I'm not
I don't.
crazy about them, I mean,
Yeah. Let's see, I did a coffee with the commissioner in regards to the HCP. And so I know Brian's working on that, and so that's going to be, out soon.
Yes.
I met with, no, I'll let you.
I've gotta go, I'm sorry.
Okay. I met with Joy Johnston from the port, a consultant from the port, and they were asking about just kind of my opinion about what I knew about the port, and I think they're doing kind of this community-wide survey, and so that was a interesting chat.
You know, I guess I might add on that, were they interviewing you something to do with community leaders and how they view what's going on down at the lake? Okay.
Yeah.
Same
Well, no,
thing.
not the lake
The
specifically.
port, but the
The
port,
port,
but lake
yes.
was part.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, good enough.
yeah.
Same thing.
Then, let me see if I haven't. And that's basically it.
The gift of time.
The gift of time, so 3:15, I don't have any commissioner items, so we are adjourned.
So see you at 10 o'clock.
See you soon.